it's Juliette, and today's Beginner's Corner piece is going to be A Story from Long Ago by Martha Mia. Now, this was a grade 1 piece a few years ago. I actually did this for my grade 1 exam, but it's not a grade 1 piece anymore, and it's such a beautiful little piece that I thought I would teach it to you. So I'll play it to you first so that you can see what it sounds like. So this piece is fairly recent. It is a modern piece. However, it was written for educational purposes and it was written in the style of a fully blown romantic piece. That's so off-putting. One of the key features of a romantic piece, which this piece definitely has, is a long singing cantabile melody. Dame Fanny Waterman, who is the founder of the world-renowned Leeds piano competition, says that the goal of the pianist is to make the piano sing. And this definitely holds for even the simple pieces like this piece. And for that reason, really playing out these cantabile melodies and making them sound as beautiful as they can possibly be is the key to making real music. So essentially what I mean with this long cantabile melody is that you want to make it sound like a singer is singing it. Without the singing melody line and all the phrasing, a simple mechanical approach to this piece just means nothing really. The beauty of it lies in the melody, and that's what I'm going to help you bring out. So the melody alone, from the beginning, just for the first line, say, sounds like this. That in itself is 2 phrases, and the way that you want to think about them to help you phrase them and to help them sound really nice is to imagine that someone is singing them, or even better to sing it yourself. So the way you can do this is just to sing while you're playing along with it to see if you can work out how you want it to sound, and then you can match that when you play it. So for example, you could literally just sing it, sing along with it. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. Like that, and then you can hear where a singer would take a breath and where they would build up and down in the dynamics. It's all about trying not to make it sound monotonous and trying to make it sound beautiful. So another difficult thing with this melody, as with the douce plante that I did in my previous video, the melody actually switches between the right hand and the left hand. So I'm going to just show you the same technique again that will help you make it sound continuous and flowing, and will hopefully get rid of the bump between the 2 hands, is to just play the whole melody with one hand so that you can see how you want it to sound, and then you can gradually add in the other hand. So for example, just with the first phrase alone, if you're not careful, it could end up sounding something like this. I mean, obviously you're not gonna do that on purpose, but the point is that you want to make it sound like it's being played with just the right hand. So that's what I'd do. I'd practice it a bit like that to see how I wanted it to sound, and then I'd let the left hand take over with that final C to make it sound the same. But at the same time that you've got all of that important melody going on, you've also got to make sure that the accompaniment hand, which most of the time is the left hand, you want to make sure that that doesn't stand out or sound mechanical either, because no matter, even if you make the right hand sound like the most beautiful out of this world thing, if you're going like that in the left hand, then it means nothing. So you also want to make sure that your left hand is also really nicely phrased and also sounds nice, so that it doesn't jar with the right hand. So just by taking it alone and thinking about it, making it sound nice by itself will sort that, and then you can gradually try and put them together to make sure that the whole thing is cohesive and the whole thing sounds nice. Another thing which applies to both hands, both the melody and the accompaniment, is that the whole of this piece is seriously legato, and you need to make sure that there's never a gap in a phrase. Obviously there are rests here and there, like at the end of this phrase there's a gap between that and the next one. So obviously you have that kind of gap, but when you have, for example, in bar 5, you have the left hand where it's going, you want to make sure that you really hold down the minim for the whole 2 beats and the dotted minim for the whole 3 beats. Just make sure you keep everything legato and everything really continuous. As soon as you start lifting up the fingers in the wrong places, it loses that magic quality. It becomes obvious, and you don't want to draw attention to that. So the last thing really to say about this piece is that whenever you have the chords, and there aren't really any chords apart from in bars 9 to 12 really, but whenever you have something with more than one note, it's really important that the warmth and the sound that you make doesn't come just from the fingers like that. You want it to come from the whole arm. So ideally, to create a really warm and rich sounding chord, it needs to be coming from your arm weight, it needs to be coming from down here. In other words, if you just stick your hand on the keys and just press down with your fingers, there is no way that you're going to get a nice warm and rich sounding chord. It needs to come right through all of the arm. Your whole arm weight really just needs to sink really softly into that chord. To make this kind of movement without going like, if that makes sense. Okay, so very final thing. As with the douce plan in my last video where the piece ended really softly, this ending just melts away really, and it's really important that you incorporate that melting in the dynamics, and also with whatever it's called, ritardando, where it just slows down at the end. You want to make it sound like it's just melting, vanishing into thin air. Nothing harsh, nothing sticking out, just kind of evaporating. I really hope you liked this video and that you found it helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. I was going to say like as well, but that's the same thing. Subscribe and turn my notifications on so that you don't miss another video. And have a lovely day, everybody. Bye!